What if you can build your own interactive world, not just for VR, but also for phones and browsers, all while doing it in just under a few minutes? Well, now you can. With Meta Horizon Worlds finally coming up with some new updates and making it easier for us to develop, it's become way easier for us to create amazing experiences and have them instantly be playable on the headset and also on phones and browsers. I'm Jad at Immersive Insiders, and in this video I'll be showing you exactly how to get started with Meta Horizon World Editor, and by the end you'll have your first world up and running. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. There's a few things we'll need before we can get started. Now, in this case, we are installing the desktop version of the editor. There's also a VR version in which you can edit in the headset itself. This is by installing the Meta Horizon Worlds app. But today, what we're doing is we're covering the desktop version because that is accessible to everyone. Even if you don't have a headset, you can still create an application for use in headsets. We'll need a few things before we can get started. So let's check out the prerequisites. The first thing we need is a Meta account. You'll need to use it and log in so that you can start creating your worlds. In this case, I'm not logged in, but once I have the editor, I will be logged in. The hardware here, you'll need a PC that can run it. Make sure you follow the rules. And finally, the language that the editor uses is TypeScript, and you'll need Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio to be able to read those files and edit them if you want to start coding. In this case today, we're not going to be covering a lot of coding or at all even, but this is something to note. Like if you want to add your own custom scripts, then you'll need to install this so that you can edit them. All right, here's the download button. We press that and it will start downloading the editor for us, the editor installer. And once that's downloaded, you can open it up, launch it, and basically start the setup process. Okay, so we have our installer. We open it up and it's going to ask us to click next, choose where to install the file. In this case, I already have it installed, but in your case, it's going to have like the directory. Choose where you want to install it and click next, and it will start installing. Now, one thing to note, you might be waiting for a while so that the bar moves. Make sure there's this pop-up that comes up at the bottom of your taskbar that asks you to give it permission, basically. And if you don't click on that, it will stay there. You will not see it probably. So just make sure you check if you have like a notification in the taskbar to click it and continue. And it will start downloading. All right, let's check it out once we have it open. Okay, once it's installed, we can open it up and it's going to look something like this. You can see here you have the home, you have my worlds, my events, tutorials, templates, documentation, and here you have the new world button. Of course, here you can access some more stuff. You can log out and you can exit and check for updates. I'll run you through this a bit so that you understand how to navigate it. First, we have home, which is a place for everything you have. Basically, worlds that you can get started with to learn. I highly recommend checking out all of this documentation. It's super useful. We're probably going to be covering some of it in future videos, like how to script, how to use certain tools. In this video, it's just like an overview. It's all available for you if you want to dive into it. Now, my worlds is all the worlds that you have and that you have started working on. In the tutorial section, you can hop into multiple worlds that have been prepared for you to learn about certain functionality. So you have a lot of examples that you can go through and see exactly how they work. I really highly recommend checking out these worlds and their documentation. Again, we're going to be covering some of these in future videos. In the templates, you can find fully created games that have all of functionality that you might want to implement. So check them out to see or to get inspiration. And finally, the documentation will take you to the documentation page. Now we're ready and we can start with a new world. Let's see what happens when you press the new world button. It will load for a tiny bit and then you'll get loaded into your world. Now that we're in our world, we can press play and move around to check it out. And once we're done, we can press play again, stop it, press publish, choose a world name. Let's call it my world. Give it a rating, none of the above. Next. Okay, rating comfortable, and then add tags, experimental, and that's it. We can press publish. And there you go. You have your first experience in Meta Horizon Worlds, and you can play it on mobile, headset, and browser. And it is actually that simple. You do have an experience that you can try out on the headset, on the phone, and in the browser. But of course, I'm going to be showing you more in depth and showing you some of the interactions that you can add, some of the functionalities, objects, and so on. so that you can build your own world. Let's get right to it. All right. So we are now in our world, and you can see that you have your character spawn point here, and you have kind of like the area in which you're gonna be playing, or this is the experience area basically. And this editor kind of looks like something you'd find in Unity, so you might be familiar with some of the things that we can find here. It only starts with a spawn point, however. So let's see what we can do. You'll find here in the asset library public assets. Here are assets that you can access and drag and drop straight into your world if you want to start making it look fun. Let's see, for example, we can add a few bushes here. I'll add one bush here, bring it down a tiny bit. You can access the move tool here, or by pressing W. Now we can move it down. We can add a few more of it by duplicating it. Control D to duplicate. Add one here, add one over there maybe, there, and put one below him as well, behind. All right, it's not very symmetrical. Forgive me for that. Anyone with OCD will probably not like this. But yeah, so we have put 4 of these bushes, and let's try it out actually. Let's jump right into it and see if we can experience this. So all you need to do is press play. So now we're in here. We can already move with WASD on the keyboard, and we can run around with Shift and jump with A. And you can see here these are collidable, so we can also jump on top of them. Cool. This is the version that will be basically accessible to the web, or the closest version to the web version. And if we press on escape, we can press on play again and stop it. Cool. So this is as easy as it gets to just get started. Now let's see what we can do on top of that. Let's check out this button right here, the build button. The build button allows us to put in shapes, for example, gizmos, sounds, colliders, or empty objects and sublevels. Let's see what we have here in shapes. So you have all of these shapes that you can look through and that you can add into your experience. For example, let's say I want to add a floor. Let's add this right here. This is a plane. I will make sure to put it on 0, 0, 0 so that it's at the center of the world and flat to the ground. You can see here it's flat. And now what I will do is I will scale it. I will scale it to 100 and 100 on Z as well. There we go. Now we have a very, very wide plane that goes almost to the horizon. Now let's see what we can do with that actually, now that we have this horizon. So we have this ground. I'm gonna put it to be green just so that we can differentiate it quite a bit. This is how you do it. You go to tint color, you put it to green, for example, and you'll see here tint strength is at 0. So we want to put it at 1 so that the color is there. There we go. Now we have color on the ground. We can even adjust it so that it fits more what we want. In this case, I'm going to keep it as green like this. We can also control the brightness. So if you put it at 0, you'll see that it's dark. It's going to be kind of black, as if no light is hitting it almost. So we want to put it at 1. We can maybe increase it. Let's see if we can increase it more. 2. Yeah, it's going to be brighter if we make it brighter. So cool. Let's keep it at 2 like this. So the next thing we can do is also add a texture. You can see here that if I click on this texture, I already imported the texture and we can select it. In this case, this ground is kind of very, very scaled up. So you can see the texture right there, but it's very scaled up. All right, let's reset this to how it was and show you the rest of the stuff here. So we have behavior. You can choose that it's visible or not. So you can just like hide it or make it visible. In a case where you want like some object that isn't visible, that only acts as a collider, like you can have a wall, for example, that is an invisible wall. You can do this. You can just disable it so that no one sees it. And of course, collidable makes sure that you can collide with it and you don't fall through the ground, for example. Reflect light. This is also something that is basically, if you add custom lights into here, you will see it being affected or not. And finally, there's this motion thing, and I'll show you more about this on other objects because it makes more sense. We have also physics, navigation, locomotion, all of that. I'll show you those on other stuff. Cool. So now we have these bushes, and remember how we could jump on them? Let's see that again. If we go onto here, we can jump on them and we can walk on them also. So let's see what we can do about that if we don't want to be able to jump on them, but rather go through them. Let's select all of them, or just select one of them first. It seems like we cannot edit multiple instances of an object or multiple objects at the same time. Kind of weird. I hope they fix that in a future update. But for now, let's see. So the one in front of us, what we want to do is go to collidable and turn it off. And now what should happen is if we try to go through it, there we go. We can walk through it and you see it's very nice. It makes us look kind of like hidden. So that's cool. Okay, now let's try to add another shape and have maybe something that we can grab. Let's take a sphere, or actually let's take a beveled cube, for example, put it right into the scene, just like so. Let's make sure that it's above ground, so we can put it at 0, 0, and then 0.5. There we go, that's above ground now, and we can grab it, and let's say we want to put it right here. Let's also scale it down just a tiny bit, put it to 0.2 maybe, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. And now you can see it's tiny like this. Right now, it doesn't have any functionality attached to it, but let's make it be grabbable and let's have physics on it as well. There's this button right here that simulates the world. If we click on it, it's going to start simulating, but right now there's nothing that is to simulate, so it doesn't work. But I'll show you in a bit how this works. So we have this cube now. Let's see what we can do. We go to collidable. We want it to be collidable. Let's first make these all not collidable, the bushes, so we can throw it into the bushes, for example. And we'll go into this now. And yeah, we made sure it's collidable, collision layer, everything. We can make it collide with only objects or the player only, but in this case we want it to collide with everything. We will put the motion to interactive so that we can grab it. And now you see when we clicked on interactive, it shows the grabbable field. And we can use grabbable, so this will allow us to grab it, but it won't have physics. We can make it so that it's just physics, so we cannot grab it. It will be basically, if you bump into it, it will roll and stuff like that. And physics and grabbable will allow it to have both at the same time. If you disable physics while grabbed, if you hit it into another object while grabbed, it will not interact with it. Otherwise, if you keep it on like this, if you have like multiple cubes, for example, we'll show that in a bit, then it will interact with all of them. So let's see. We have this, we have gravity, and you can put custom gravity if you want, but right now let's just keep it to how it is. And see now it's still floating, but if we press on world sim, it's going to fall. There we go, it fell. Let's try to reset the world, and you'll see that it's gonna also fall again. There we go, there we go. It keeps falling if we reset the world. When you have it selected, it doesn't act, or you don't see it actually falling. You see it just resetting like this, but once you have something else selected, you will see it start moving. There we go. Okay, so let's try to play this now. We go in, and if we get close to it, you can see the E button appear. And if we press E, it's gonna grab it. And we can also throw it, or we can, basically press X to release it, or press Q to start aiming and throwing. In this case, I'm gonna throw it in here. And you see it went through and it went to the other side. Now, in this case, I'm not doing it in VR, but we can try this out in the end with the VR headset and see all of the interactions that we had, or everything that we created. So now, let's try to do something with which it's going to collide. So I'm going to go into shapes. So let's just add a normal cube. Normal cube, and we scale it up and we fix it. Okay. So we want this to be 10 by 10, let's say. There we go. That's our wall. Let's put it to 5. And let's put this to 2.5. There we go. And we're going to bring that wall over here. We can also rotate it if we want. Let's make it a bit slanted so that we can walk up it. Like so. Bring it down a bit into the ground. Okay. And let's give it a color. We're gonna color it red like bricks. Like orange red. There we go. Okay. Now we have it collidable, and if we go in and we grab our cube and we try to throw it on it, you can see it's gonna bounce off. And currently I cannot walk up this because it's a bit too slanted, but you can see how it works. There's one more motion behavior that I want to show you that you can add easily into your experiences, and that is animations. So let's see how it works. I'm gonna make basically a rising platform that goes up and down. Let's use the cylinder instead, just because it's flat. It's not going to cause any issues with the character walking on it nicely. So let's put it to 5, 5, and 10. And bring this down, bring it here. And now what we can do is add the motion interaction to it. Make it animated. And this is something that you can do better with code. But in this case, it's still fine to do it in this way. I'll show you exactly what I mean. And you can also do it in VR, which might be a tiny bit easier, perhaps. Let's see. So I have this, and now I added the animated function to it. And if we press play, there's no animation to play. So let's press record, and let's make it go up and down, and stop the recording. And now if you press play, you'll see it goes up and down. And we can make it loop. Right now it says never. We can make it go continuously. Or if you wanted to just go up and down without actually recording the down motion, what you can also do is, I'll duplicate it and I'll show you here. I'll record just the way up. And stop. And now if we put it here and we put on back and forth, you'll see it goes up and down, you see. And if we put it here on continuously, because we recorded both the down and up, or the up and down motion, then it's gonna do this. Cool. And we can make it play on start, of course, and we can change the speed. So let's make these both play on start. And let's make this one speed to 2, for example. Let's try it out. So now we have 2 platforms. This one is going to be faster. I'm going to make it yellow just so that we can differentiate it easier. There we go. Yellow, and then tint strength 1. And maybe brightness to 3. Let's see. Yeah, cool. All right, let's press play. And here we can see, let's grab our object, jump on this. So it goes up and down. You can already imagine what kind of experiences you can make with this, like a platformer experience. And same goes for here. Like we can walk around and it goes up and down faster. It's just done in a bit of a different way. All right, so we have these 2 functionalities. And as I said before, when we are in this view, the editor view, you can turn on World Sim to see how these work. If you're not fully satisfied with it, you can change it up. If you are, you can just continue with it. But yeah, it's nice to be able to see stuff happening right in front of you. All right, a few more things we can do. Let's explore the gizmos here. So gizmos, you can use trigger zones, for example, to trigger certain events. If you have, let's see how exactly it works. So you have basically a bounding box or a collision. You can scale that to make it collide with more things. And then trigger on players. So this will trigger only if players go through it, or you can have objects tagged. And if you put objects tagged, then you will have to tag the object and it will basically only work with those tagged objects. Cool, so we have it trigger on player, and we can basically attach some scripts here. Today we're not going to do that, but you can basically attach some scripts here that you create so that they activate once this is triggered. In the VR version also, which we'll cover in a later video, you can make it do things like activate an animation easier than what you can do here. Okay, so this is the trigger. Let's check something else. Gizmos. You can add a mirror into your experience so that you can see yourself, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Now we can check out some other gizmos. You can have some text, of course. You can choose a different spawn point or move this one. You can add doors. So doors are portals to other worlds, and you can change what world it leads to. In the case where you have a world that is public, you can choose it, and if not, then you would need access to it. Like if you have other private worlds that you want to switch between, then you would change it here and you'd add so that you can go to them. I'll put this portal right now here, and we'll move to the other stuff that we can use here. This is a really good one. Environment. Let me show you what it does. We can go into the gizmos again, sound, place this, and edit some of the things we have here. So right now it's daytime, but we can choose, for example, sunrise. We can choose from a bunch of different ones, maybe even day clouds. Really nice. And we can change the exposure. Let's put it to 3. We can change also the light intensity, put it to 5. There we go. You can see like a bunch of different things. Right now it doesn't look as good because I increased the exposure by a lot, but yeah, you see this. And what you can also do is customize the fog and make it a certain color, change the distance of it, and so on. I would recommend you play around with this a bit and see what you can do. Also, when you're editing, right now we added the floor, but if we remove the floor, make it invisible, you can see that there's this grid. If you go into the environment object that you added, you can disable the show grid, and now it will not show anymore. But there is still ground here, so you don't fall. If you want to make a map where you fall or an experience where you fall, you gotta bring it up so that there is not this floor that stops you. Now, I guess that's it on the environment. Now let's check some other things. In the gizmos, you can also add dynamic lights. I would recommend you play around with that, but basically it's just a light. You can choose the color, the intensity, and so on. It's very fun to play around with. We can try out, for example, here a blue color, or actually let's do a red color so that we can see it easily. You can see here how it's affecting the world. You can change the intensity, the fallout, and so on. And you can change it from point light to spotlight. In the spotlight, it's more directional. You can see the arrow right here pointing to where it will go. You can add static lights, of course, trails, particle effects. We can check out the particle effect real quick. Let's place this here, and we can choose from some default ones. Let's put it on looping, put it to smoke poof, and play it. And you see here, it's gonna start playing and it's gonna loop because we put it to looping. Some final gizmos here. There are some leaderboard quests and all of these things. These are a bit more in-depth, so we will not cover them in here. But it's nice to play around with, so if you want to explore them, make sure to do, and there's a lot of documentation on it. We'll cover some of them in future videos. Okay, now you have basically your basic stuff, all of the things, you kind of understand more how you can build stuff, and maybe your imagination is getting ready to build. There are some more things that you can do. You can add sounds. You can explore these sounds, very nice. There's effects, background, and music. And you can make them spatial. So basically wherever you put them, it will sound closer to them or not. And empty objects just so that you can put stuff in it, basically. So for example, all of these bushes, if I want them to be part of the same object or parented to the same object, I can right click and create parent object, and they will be all placed in this empty object called bushes. There we go. And we can move all of them at once, basically. And you see here, there's some bugs sometimes where, yeah, some stuff in the hierarchy just doesn't show up properly. It happens. When this happens, you just have to restart. So let me do that real quick. Okay, we're back. And we have these objects right now, and as I said, we can now move them, so on. Okay, so we're gonna go into the play mode and see what our experience is like now. We can see the mirror here, and our object that we can grab, our bushes that we can go through, the portal that leads to the hub world, and here there is this puff of particle effects. And these platforms that we made move. Now let me show you an experience that I kind of created and edited from the VR version, and basically what you can do as a mini game and how you build. Let's do that. I'm gonna go back to the creation hub, the home, and go into my worlds and go here. into my creation. Okay, we are now in this world that I have edited a bit with some functionality and some assets. Here are a bunch of cubes that you can build in VR basically. And there are some few things that I want to show you before we build. There are some settings for the world itself that you can do here. So you can rename the world. You can go into player settings and change how many players your world can support and how many suggested players is for the world, so that people know, okay, this experience is meant for more people and so on. You can activate emotes, make proximity chat local or global, so that all the people in the world will hear each other no matter the distance, or they need to be close to each other. And there's a bunch of other examples here that you can check and edit however you like. Footsteps, volume, and so on. Now, in order to build your world, all you need to do is publish. Click on this publish button right here or right here. And you can also rename it right here. So let's see what happens when you press publish. First off, you will get the name that you want to give it. You can give it a description. Here it will ask you to give it a rating. So make sure that you put the right rating. And for me, in this case, it's none of the above. And I press next. Who do you want to see the world? Right now it is public, but I will put it to, or actually no, this is not public or not public. This is just the rating. So anyone can view this world, or you can put it to only people above 18. Okay, cool. And then you can give it a rating of comfort in case you know that it might make some people sick. You can put it to moderate or intense. Tags. Experimental. In this case, I was just experimenting with this world. Otherwise, you can give it some other tags if you want it to be discoverable. And you can make it visible to the public or not. I have it as not visible to the public. And you can see here it's a beta world. So basically, it's still in development. And I have it for mobile, VR, and both. Or like mobile, web, and VR, and not just VR, not just mobile. So once you have it, you can also change the thumbnail if you want. You can take a photo, you take a picture inside of the world, and then you choose it here. And you press on publish, and you confirm. And actually, that's all you need to do to have your experience published, is just press this publish button. Let me show you basically what this experience is that I have edited here. So we have this, and we have this animation of a block that moves forward and backwards that allows me to bridge this gap, and then this cube that goes up and down. I get to here to the trophy, and I can press E to grab it. There's particle effects and sounds that play. Cool, that's about it. Now that your experience is published, what you can do is press on these three dots right here and find this open preview build in browser. Some browsers don't work. I recommend using Google Chrome to test this out. You can also copy the URL and paste it in your browser of choice. Now I'm on the page of my experience on the browser, and I can press go, which will load me into the experience itself. This is the version that's on the desktop on the browser, and I'll show you in a second after this how it looks inside of VR on my headset. Okay, so we're in, and it looks exactly the same as the editor. We can jump around and go on top of here and get the trophy and win the experience basically. Cool. Simple and straight to the point. Now let's check it out in VR. Okay, so I'm now in VR, as you can see, and I am going to show you exactly where you can find the experience that we just made. So we go in here, we click on this button right here. This is the desktop editor. We're going to continue in headset. So we can access all of the worlds that we have, and you can access also some tutorial worlds that I really recommend you check out if you have the VR version. Now we go into creation. This is the world that we just published. I can edit it, or I can press on the info button and then go to the published page to play it. So here I can press on visit world, and in a couple seconds it's going to be loading, and we're going to be right into the world that we're playing on the desktop version, but we're going to be playing it in VR. And I'm going to show you some interactions that can happen a bit differently. So as you can see, this is the world we created. Very beautiful. And here we have the animations that we made. So we can run, jump on it, wait for the platform to go there, jump, wait for this box to go down, jump here and grab this trophy. Awesome. So it's kind of the same thing, but one extra thing that you can do in here is play more with the physics of objects. Like for example, these blocks right here, I can place one here, get another one, place it on top,
place it on top, and so on. You see, this kind of interaction you cannot really do in the non-VR version. So let's do this, and then bam, there we go. So you can see how fun interactions you can make that are kind of a bit limited to just the VR version, but you can still play around with it, with this world, both in VR and with mobile or desktop. And that's it.
And there it is, a fully playable experience made in just minutes on Quest, desktop and mobile. Meta Horizon Worlds might not be the metaverse just yet, but with tools like this and with creators like us, we're slowly inching towards it. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful in starting your first world in Meta Horizon Worlds, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to keep exploring all of things XR. With that said, I'll see you in the next one.